Ukraine turns Pokrovsk into a death trap for Russia. In the heart of Donetsk, a city once on the brink of collapse has become an impenetrable fortress, Pokrovsk. Ukraine has turned this seemingly ordinary city into a living nightmare for Russian forces. In a conflict defined by trench warfare, long-range artillery, and heavy bombardments, Pokrovsk has become a deadly trap where Russian soldiers find themselves walking into an ambush at every turn. How did Ukraine manage to turn this city into a death zone? And why is it such a pivotal part of the ongoing war? In today's video, we're going to unravel the strategy, tactics, and technologies that have made Pokrovsk a place where Russian troops simply can't catch a break. Stay with me to the end, because this isn't just about the city, it's about the future of warfare in the 21st century. The strategic importance of Pokrovsk. Pokrovsk is not just any city in eastern Ukraine. It sits at the crossroads of critical supply lines in the Donetsk region. To Russia, controlling Pokrovsk meant securing vital routes for reinforcements and resupplies as they push forward into the heart of Ukraine. However, for Ukraine, losing Pokrovsk would be catastrophic. The city holds both strategic and symbolic value, and Ukraine wasn't about to let it fall without a fight. But Ukraine didn't just rely on conventional defenses. Instead, they used the city's layout and urban infrastructure to their advantage, turning Pokrovsk into a fortress of death for Russian forces. It wasn't enough to put up defenses. They needed to create a scenario where Russia would suffer continuous heavy losses. And that's exactly what they did by integrating advanced anti-tank weapons, guerrilla tactics, and deadly booby traps into every street, alley, and building. Every inch of the city became a threat, turning Pokrovsk into a deadly maze, the role of mines and traps. Ukraine's genius lay in its ability to turn Pokrovsk into a maze of explosives. Anti-tank mines, landmines, and booby traps became the backbone of the city's defense. The city's urban environment provided the perfect setting for these deadly traps. Every street corner, every alley, every abandoned building is rigged with explosives, designed to take out Russian soldiers and equipment with terrifying precision. What makes this particularly lethal for Russian forces is the speed at which these attacks occur. They can't simply advance without fearing for their lives at every turn. Ukraine's forces made sure to cover both the main routes and the more obscure side streets, ensuring that Russian soldiers couldn't simply bypass the dangers. Even the roads leading into the city are lined with explosive devices, making any movement in and out a perilous gamble. But it's not just about the mines. The Ukrainian military has also rigged buildings to collapse and ambush any advancing forces. This level of sophistication has turned Pokrovsk into a city that literally fights back. Russian soldiers are not just fighting against Ukrainian forces, they're fighting against the city itself, and that's a terrifying proposition. Guerrilla tactics, the hidden fighters of Pokrovsk. Mines and traps are only part of the equation. Ukraine's forces have taken full advantage of the urban setting to implement guerrilla tactics that have caught Russian forces off guard time and time again. It's one thing to have mines scattered throughout the city, but Ukraine's use of snipers, ambush units, and highly mobile infantry has made Pokrovsk a death trap in every sense of the word. Ukrainian soldiers, both regular and specialized units, have mastered urban warfare. Using the city's crumbling infrastructure, they blend in with the environment, striking Russian troops when they least expect it. These hit-and-run tactics keep the Russians constantly on edge. Every soldier knows that they might be the next target of a sniper or an ambush unit, and this constant fear eats away at morale. At the same time, Ukraine has taken advantage of the city's underground network, utilizing tunnels and hidden routes to move forces and supplies without detection. This makes it nearly impossible for Russian intelligence to track Ukrainian movement, further complicating their efforts to control the city. The result? A never-ending cycle of attrition for Russian forces, where each advance is met with overwhelming resistance and unpredictable strikes. This isn't just military strategy, it's psychological warfare that wears down even the most seasoned soldiers. Russia's struggles in Pokrovsk, a quagmire of missteps. Now, let's talk about Russia's response. From the very beginning, they underestimated the difficulty of taking Pokrovsk. What they thought would be a simple sweep through a city with minimal defenses turned into a nightmare. With every attempt to advance, Russian forces faced Ukrainian tactics that were well-coordinated, clever, and brutally effective. And the more they pushed, the more they realized they were walking into a trap. Initially, Russia's heavy artillery and airstrikes seemed like they would be enough to soften up Ukrainian defenses. But even with their overwhelming firepower, Russian forces found themselves struggling to gain ground. The city's dense urban landscape and the clever use of mines and ambush tactics meant that artillery bombardments often didn't hit their intended targets. Meanwhile, any attempt to move troops through these streets led to devastating casualties. As weeks turned into months, Russia found itself trapped in a quagmire. The cost of continuing the assault on Pokrovsk became too high, with Russian forces losing manpower, equipment, and morale at an alarming rate. This has led many to speculate whether Russia will eventually abandon Pokrovsk, as the price of holding it becomes too steep for them to justify. The psychological impact on Russian forces. One of the most significant effects of Ukraine's strategy in Pokrovsk is the psychological toll it's taking on Russian soldiers. Urban warfare is brutal under any circumstances, but with the constant threat of mines, sniper fire, and ambushes, the stress level is through the roof. Soldiers can't rest, can't let their guard down, and the unpredictability of the situation breeds paranoia and fear. This has a direct impact on morale. Russian troops are reportedly suffering from fatigue, frustration, and a growing sense of hopelessness. In a conflict where every soldier counts, a breakdown in morale can lead to larger strategic problems. The longer Russia struggles to maintain control, the harder it will be to motivate its forces to keep fighting in the region. Global implications. The shift in warfare tactics. Ukraine's success in turning Pokrovsk into a deadly trap isn't just a victory in the Donbass. It's a harbinger of how future urban conflicts may unfold. The blend of mines, guerrilla tactics, and psychological warfare that Ukraine has employed could change how nations approach urban warfare in the years to come. If anything, the battle for Pokrovsk demonstrates that in modern warfare, control of the terrain is just as important as the firepower you bring to bear. The ability to turn a city into a death trap has profound implications for how military forces will fight in future conflicts, especially in urbanized areas. Pokrovsk has gone from being a strategic city to a symbol of Ukrainian resilience and ingenuity. By transforming it into a deadly maze of traps and ambushes, Ukraine has forced Russia into a prolonged conflict they can't seem to win. It's not just about who has the most soldiers or the best weapons. It's about using the terrain, the environment, and every tactic available to turn the tide of war. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest in military strategy and global conflicts. And as always, leave a comment below with your thoughts. How do you think this will affect the overall war? We'll see you in the next video.